Hello everyone, in this video let us learn how to use DWM along with DMenu and ST. Now recently I started using DWM and I find it really interesting and I want to share how cool it is. Now the way DWM works is basically using a concept of tiling. So whenever you create or open a new application, for example, if I'm on my desktop, I can open one application. Let us say if I have to open my ST terminal, I can press Alt Shift Enter. Now Alt here is the mod key that you can change in the configuration of DWM. Now this is all good. I can do my work on the terminal, and I can if I want, I can also increase the size. So if I press Control Shift Page Up, it will basically increase the size of my font. And if I have to open one more terminal, I can press Alt Shift Enter, and you can see here that the terminal window that I was working on is now shifted on the right hand side, and the main window that I have just opened, or basically the window that I've just opened is now my main window. Now this is something really interesting because let us say if I am doing my work, let us say I'm maybe pinging my website, whatever. I mean, I'm just showing you this example. Now while this is running, I may want to do something else. I can open one more terminal, like if I press Alt Shift Enter. Now this is my new open fresh terminal. Now you're not really limited to just terminal windows. You can also open applications. So I use Brave browser for basically browsing websites, and the Brave is my default browser. I have talked about it, and I basically use the DMenu along with it. So for DMenu, you have to basically press Alt P, and you can then type Brave. So the good thing about DMenu is that everything is easily available for you by pressing a shortcut like these two combination of keys. And if I now press Enter, the browser will open here on my desktop, of course on the left hand side, which is like the main region. Now what if you want to go back to your previous windows? So I can press Alt J, and it will basically cycle through the whole thing. So you can press Alt J, and you can keep on pressing Alt J if you want. And if you want to resize the window, let us say if I go back to my main window, I can press Alt K to go back. So you can press Alt J or Alt K. So basically if you want to go clockwise, Alt J is the command, or you can press Alt K. Now I can increase the size of my window or decrease the size of my main window by pressing Alt H or Alt K. Oh, sorry, Alt L. So Alt L and Alt H are the keys. So this is also one more option. To be honest, in the beginning it may sound a bit confusing, but once you get used to the shortcuts, once you get used to these commands, you will love working on it. Now there is also one more thing. Let us say you just right now, let us say you're on the main window, and you can of course go back to, or you can cycle through your available windows on the right hand side. Now what if you want to make this terminal like the terminal where I have something like the next terminal window or any window that you have open, and if you want to make it or swap it with the master one or the main one, you can press Alt Enter. Let me just try it one more time. Sorry. So yeah, so if you press Alt Enter, it will basically do like a switch. It will swap these two windows. So let us say if you're working on two applications and you want to constantly switch between them. So the good thing about this particular setup is that you're not really using any mouse. So I'm not really using any mouse, although I can, if I want, I can use the right now I'm using a mouse. I can change the focus. Now what if you want to close a specific window? So you can press Alt Shift C, and it will get rid of the window that you want to, of course, remove. So Alt Shift P and Alt Shift C, and that is it. Now you're back to the just one window, the main window that you were working on. Now on top you have these numbers, and these are nothing but like workspaces. So if I want to press Alt 2 or Alt 3, you can basically switch to that particular workspace. If I let us say switch to Alt 8, it will open this Emacs where I have the tutorial that I was writing on how to install this Arch Linux on ThinkPad X22, and I was basically writing about DWM basics. So we talked about how to kill a window and how to open a new application using a DWM. And I think that is all I wanted to talk about. And by the way, the way Arch or this DWM works, I'm using Arch Linux because I think it is quite interesting. I have always used Fedora, and I thought I will give Arch Linux a try. It is really interesting. It is of course very simplistic and very minimal setup where I have DWM, and the way DWM works is basically you have to modify the source code. So there is no configuration file. You have to basically modify the source code and you have to compile it again. So let me show you very quickly. So if I basically open the source code, so there is a file called as config.h. So people who are familiar with C++ or C, they will find this not very confusing. So basically you can take a look at the file here, and if you want to, let us say, make a change, you can make a change here. You can do any, let us say if you want to change the color of your bar on top, so you can basically modify this particular file and you can then recompile it. So this is something that you can also do if you want to, maybe if you're looking for something very simplistic, very minimal setup for managing desktop or managing the work that you want to do very quickly and efficiently. And I find it quite interesting because for the past few days I am trying DWM along with Arch Linux, and I think it is very fast and efficient. Of course, it is a bit difficult because I use KDE. KDE is of course very simple to use and very easy to use. But for doing simple things, like for example, if you want to let us say display the time on the status bar or maybe the battery status, so you have to basically modify files. It is not very obvious. You have to basically do everything yourself, and it is really interesting because it gives you an opportunity to basically learn. I mean, you will learn a lot of things when you do these things yourself. And don't worry about these commands. I am still writing a blog post where I will share each and everything about the configuration. So basically, if you are trying to install Arch Linux on a laptop or a computer, and you also want to use DWM along with DMenu and ST, you will definitely find that particular blog useful. I've basically mentioned all the, I've shared all the configuration files. Of course, it is still work in progress, but if you follow those steps, I hope you can also have a similar setup and you should be able to use DWM. So that is all I wanted to share in this video. I hope you learned something new today and you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you very much.